All right, welcome back, and today we're going to be taking a look at NECA's Ultimate Pinhead from Clive Barker's HellRaiser. Like they say, angels to some, demons to others. This is the master of evil, the master of dark, the sadistic Pinhead. Now, before we get into looking at this figure, as always, like I said, and I keep repeating myself and I apologize, we are going to take a look at the accessories. All right, now starting off, we are going to take a look at his hands. So he comes with 3 sets of hands, and this one is more of a like, he's reaching out type of hand, and this is more of a box holding hand. You have the nice leather that goes around. There is some nice sculpting as far as the veins in his hands, and then you have the red on his fingers. So that is those. And then he comes with his gripping hands or holding hands. And just like the other ones, you have the red on the fingers, the black going down from the thumb to the pinky. Nice leather, nice job. All right, now this is one of his weapons or tools of torture that Pinhead comes with. And this is, looks like a little hacksaw. I like the way that it's done. You have the blood there on the actual blade, the red paint. Very well done. Nice little leather bound handle on it. And then you have a little metal clasp on it. And then you have his knife. So Pinhead has his knife, and it has blood on it. Mine's a little warped, but that's just the way that it came. Yeah, so you have the little clasp at the end, and then you have the knife, and it looks like a rusty old knife, but actually it's just blood stained from his victims. And then last but not least, you have this other hook blade that he comes with that you see him always have. He always has these 3 things hanging off the front of him in the movie. And yeah, I mean, NECA has done a very nice job of this. You have the hilt, and then, you know, again, you have this little metal hook to hook onto him. And then the blade with the blood splatter on it. So very nice for a horror movie weapon. So next we have Pinhead's alternate head. Now this is cool that NECA included this in there. So this is his angry head or teeth gritting head that you see him actually do in the actual film. Every one of the pins, everything, I mean, the sculpt on this is just nice. The lines are nice and clean. The darkness of the eyes themselves, the black of the eyes, and then the teeth. I mean, everything is done just wonderful with this figure. Very nice. So if you're into horror movie figures, or even if you're not and you just want to get this guy, pick him up. Now, I did just happen to see this one right here is kind of bent, or it looks bent. This one, this guy right here, and that's just the way it came. They're not always going to be perfect. That's just from being in the box. I mean, you want to be careful when handling this, not to press your thumbs on it and bend it. So when you hold it, you want to hold it by the ears, someplace where you're not going to bend these, because they are soft plastic, but still you don't want to warp them all out. You got the peg hole in there, and yeah, I mean, look at that, every single one of those lines. And then this back here where the hooks have hooked into his flesh. Very nice. Really nice. Next we have the version of the open puzzle box. And I love the way that they did all the detail going around. I mean, that's got to be tough. Look at that detail going around on all these little open parts. I mean, there's not much to really say about that except for how cool that is for these guys to take the time to go through every little piece and add that detail. That is cool. You have the bottom or the top of the box, whichever side it may be. You have all the detail on here from the box itself. And that, my friends, is that's great detail that NECA added into something so small, because this is a little tiny box, and it is nicely done, the detail on this thing. They did a fabulous job with the open puzzle box. I just can't say enough about it. Now moving on to the actual closed box itself. Now you can see the top of the box right here, and then we'll move to the sides. There's that extra detail that you've seen on the open puzzle box that's in each and every one of those open grooves and flaps from the box being open. Here's another side of the box. There's another side. I mean, that's fabulous. It's not scratched, it's not messed up with paint, it's not sloppy. It is done as far as the way the box is supposed to look. Yes. I mean, that is great. They did a great job with this puzzle box. And you can't go wrong. And it's small. It's really, really small. And but still, for something so small, for them to add such great detail, NECA has really outdone themselves with this. All right, so let's move on to the main man himself, Pinhead. So let's take a good look at this figure. So looking at this guy, here's his other head that you have on him. Like I said, when you want to turn his head and move him, you want to make sure you kind of grab him by the ear so you don't bend all the pins. Now, they're not always going to be 100% perfect, but let me tell you something. They pretty much are. I mean, they did a fabulous job making this guy. The lines going through the face where the chains have actually came out with those hooks and made every single one of those lines and then pounded these pins into his head. I mean, yeah, really awesome. I can't say enough. I don't really collect a whole lot of horror movie characters, but this guy here I had to get because, well, he's Pinhead. And if anybody has seen the HellRaiser movies and you listen to this guy speak, oh, yeah. I mean, he's a lot different than any other horror movie character. I mean, for a guy to look at somebody and go, "Oh, child, no tears, for we have such sights to show you, such suffering." I mean, that right there, I mean, that's really, he's a sadistic character, he really is. But anyway, enough of my nonsense. The eyes, well done. Black as can be, just like they were in the movie. Then you have the gray underneath. All the nice pins going all the way around his head. Moving to the back, now you can see from like the alternate head where the hooks came through and pulled the skin to where this actually attaches. Now moving down to the chest. So we have this silver, just like in the movie, where the front of his S&M costume is silver, and then his chest is ripped open here, where you can see little pieces of his flesh pulled down and then pinned to these other parts onto his actual suit. And then coming down, he has right here where his belly button would be, he has this actual leather strap, and this is just a little piece of nylon here, but in the movie it's leather, and that's usually where he hangs his knives and the saw and that hook blade on. They just dangle there. So if you haven't seen this movie, it's an older movie from back in the 80s. Definitely go check it out. It's a good movie. Once you get past the second one, well, the third one's okay, but once you get past those, forget it. Don't bother, really. I mean, that's just my opinion. And then moving down to the rest, look at the detail that they put into the leather coming down the side of the arm to the bicep, the elbow, all the way down to his hands. And here's his other set of hands where you can actually see the leather coming to the pinky and then to the thumb. Nice texture right here on the waist area. And then moving down, we have his, I don't want to call it dress, but he has this long gown type, that comes all the way down. And this is like a nylon fabric, okay? And it has a bendy wire inside. So let's flip them around, take a look at the back. So then you have on the back here, you have the leather strap that comes down, which also attaches to his head. and then you have this metal that is actually going through the suit into his body, hooked into his suit, just to cause such pain and suffering, as he would say, and then moving down to the rest of the texture on the back and here, and then this does open, and this is a bendy wire. It starts all the way down and goes down to the bottom here. So why NECA chose to do that, I have no idea why. But when you take it out of the package, just be careful with it, because it is kind of a pain to move around and get where you want it to sit. So yeah, and it does open. It does open up. Let me just show that off. And showing you this, you can see that it is actually kind of difficult to kind of move out of the way. But moving down to the back of his legs, now that I'm showing them off, you can still see, you know, his suit looks kind of muscular. Like it's like his skin was pulled off and just dried up and black. It's no longer red, but it looks like, you know, what your muscle structure looks like underneath of your skin. And that's just crazy. Crazy the detail that NECA has put into this figure. And it's to give it that flowing look for when he's walking or standing a certain way. I mean, it's all right to me. I don't really care about the way that it goes all the way around, but that's just my opinion. It doesn't really bother me that much where I don't like the figure. And then moving down to his legs, you have more of this muscle texture, and then coming down to the boots itself right here with the silver, and then down to his boots, you have more, it's just black, but you have that detail of that, like, you know, like he has well, muscle structure, like his skin has been pulled off. And if you guys have seen the movie, you've seen stuff like this, you know, from the second movie in the Leviathan. So yeah, this is, I like him. I think he's a really cool figure, and I think NECA has done a really good job. Now let's move on to his articulation. Can Pinhead look up? So being gentle with him, if you push him up too hard, his head pops right off that pin. And this is separate, so you can, you know, move that head, and it's really easy to put it back on. So looking up, not really. Looking down, he can look down some. If you pull his head up a little bit on that peg, you can get more articulation out of it. He can look right, he can look, well, he can look side to side, and then he does have some head tilt. And like I said, these are rubbery, so you want to kind of grab by the ears, because they will bend if you put too much pressure on them. And then looking down, moving down, I should say, to his shoulders. His shoulders move out about that far. And I don't really want to force it, because they get really tight when they're right about there, and I don't want these to break in there. You're not really going to get a lot of dynamic poses out of this guy, because he doesn't do dynamic poses anyway. He's an agent of evil. He's a demon. No butterfly joint. He does have just a standard shoulder articulation, moves all the way around, and then he has double jointed elbows, which is actually really nice, and they're soft. They just, you know, not hard to move. And he has a bicep swivel right here, and then moving down to his hand, he has wrist swivel, and then he has his wrist articulation, which bends side to side. All right, and then moving to the actual torso, you have to be careful, because like I said, this nylon rope is here. Ab crunch, not too much. Moving backwards, not too much, just enough to get him to kind of move a little side to side and turn here at the top. And you don't want to really do too much, because you don't want this nylon rope to break, because that is plastic. That's right down in there, and it does move through. So you can pull this a little bit, but you don't want anything happening to that right there. Now, as far as lower waist articulation, there isn't any. But he does have a, you're pulling up, you know, his skirt here. He does have leg articulation, where his leg can move out this far. His leg can move out to the side that far. So this guy could do the splits. I mean, that's crazy. Wow. For a figure that doesn't have a whole lot of articulation, this guy can do the splits better than most Spider-Man figures. No upper thigh rotation, no thigh, no hip rotation whatsoever. He does have a single jointed knee, not double, just single. Like I said, this guy is not going to be, you're not going to be putting this guy in dynamic poses anyway. He has his ankle articulation, his foot can move forward, move back that far. Mine's really tight, so I just want to be careful. And then he has ankle pivot, which is nice. All right, so let me just get him straightened about, and then I can show off some of his accessories. Like I said, you push his head up too far and it pops right off. Okay, so let's get this guy. Let's get him standing here. All right. Give me a second, I'll be right back. Okay, now that I got this guy settled and put back to where he's standing and got him all kind of situated, I'm gonna put him into some poses. They're not gonna be anything crazy like I do with most figures. I just want to show how he looks with his alternate head and his weapons and stuff like that. So yeah, let me do some of that. That way you guys can get a good look on how, you know, he pretty much is, and then we'll end the review.
You opened it. We came. You solved the box. We came. Now you must come with us. No tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering. Pain. How dare you use that word? I am pain.
Okay, so I just want to show this off really quick, and that is these little hooks that he comes with. They're open on one side, and I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's open on this side here. So you want to take these, and on that little piece of nylon rope, and you want to hook them on, and they just dangle there. They just dangle there. So then you take the other one, just kind of works for me all the time when I'm not doing anything, and now I'm having a hard time. So okay, there you go. Just kind of turn it sideways, whoop, slide it in, and there it goes. And then his knife is the same thing. It's just all three of them do the exact same thing. They hook on there the exact same way. It's not too difficult to do. And then there you go. That's how they sit on him. All right, so now, yeah, I mean, look, for a figure like Pinhead, you're not going to put him in a bunch of dynamic poses. I mean, you can pose him if you wanted to. To me, Pinhead is always this guy that just this, you know, character that when he shows up, you know, bad things are about to go off and happen real bad to whoever they're going to happen to because they opened up that box. Well, I mean, you know, he walks slow. He doesn't chase you. He does get angry, but yet he's always, you know, in some poetic way talking about how he's going to torture you because that's just the way the character is. I don't remember the actor's name that played him, but there is only one Pinhead, and that is the guy who played Pinhead in the original. So if anybody remembers his name, please put it down in the comments down below. But the sculpt, the head sculpt looks just like him, And what NECA is doing with these figures, I mean, from, you know, the Universal monsters that NECA has put out, the Turtles, horror movie figures like Pinhead. I haven't even seen the Jason Voorhees, let alone the Freddy Krueger ones or Michael Myers, but they're probably beautiful sculpts of these figures here. So I just want to say, if you're not into collecting horror movie figures, that's fine. But if you really need some kind of evil, decrepit, nasty character for your collection, this is the way to go. This guy here, I mean, yeah, yep, that's all I can say about that. I mean, look, he, like I said, like I was saying before, he doesn't have all this articulation because he's not a character that does that. This is a guy that you pose on the shelf like that, or holding the box, or he's holding one of his knives or whatever. He's just the way he looks is just intimidating all on its own. I don't know about you guys, but I know for a fact that I would never want to have to come across somebody who looks like this. Never, ever, 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 ever. And then spouting off the things that he says, you know, oh so poetically, like he's your friend. He's saying it oh so nice and softly to you, and how he's gonna tear your soul apart. Yeah, no. But listen, NECA did a fabulous job with this character. I like this figure. If you don't like this figure, pass this figure up. But I had to do a review on him because Pinhead has always been one of my favorite characters in a horror movie, because the way he's written. Because of the way that he is written. I like the puzzle box. The whole, everything about it is just dark, demented, and really cool the way this character was done. So yeah, NECA, thank you. Fabulous. Everybody, I don't have any comparisons to do. I don't have anybody out right now to do any comparisons with this guy, so I do apologize for that. But I hope you enjoyed this review. I really, really do. And keep an eye out for my Monkeyan. That is going to be my next review coming up. Yeah, the Super 7 Monkeyan. I know I'm behind. Everybody else is ahead of me, but hey, look, you know, I can't always just jump on it and get going with it, right? I got other things I have to do and take care of as well. But listen, enough of that nonsense. Everybody, thank you. Thank you to all my new subscribers. Thank you to my existing subscribers and everybody who has been here since I've started this channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it. As always, guys, please like, subscribe, share, and always leave a comment down below. And please hit that notification bell so you never miss out on anything that I'm putting up. And as always, I'll catch you all on the flippity flip.